I took Cairo. Needless to say, Viper's pissed. I haven't seen her in about 6 days. Because she was that angry. And I'm running out of food, so now I gotta risk trying to get back into the house. She's probably waiting for me. This could get ugly very fast. So, wish me luck. If I don't live through this, I love you guys.
I don't know what he's worried about. I mean, it's not like he won World War II against the Axis powers. You know, sometimes I think he just over-exaggerates a little bit. When he really gets into it, it's not like he really rolled, you know, like a 5 or something. But he did take Cairo. And we talked about this. This is not okay. So I'm just wondering if he realizes what he actually did. Anyway, so I'm not really sure how I really want to go about doing this, because, I mean, I still have to make dinner. I'll see you guys on the inside. Oh, I hear him coming.
Alright, let's do this, guys. Just go, come back later. Well, that was almost fatal. As you can see, I have definitely taken Cairo, and Viper, as you saw, was not happy about it. But we worked it out. The guns are put away, I think, sort of, maybe. Anyways, we'll get this update going before she finds me again. So starting from left to right, I've completely upgraded all of America's stuff, so it's got all new toys to play with. F4 Phantoms, 104 Starfighters, the UH-1 helicopters, the M302 or 203 APCs, something like that. Upgraded the forces in Europe. England has nukes now. It's got 1 nuclear bomb. It just finished all of its facilities, and it's produced 1 bomb so far. North Africa continues to stalemate. Germany has started, or finished, 2 of the 3 facilities it needs for nukes. Italy's finished a heavy water plant and started a nuclear reactor. Viper has finished her launch facility, the Baikonur facility, and she made her first roll for the race to the moon, and she rolled a 10, so that's a pretty good roll. Needs to get 140 something points to get there, so not a bad roll. Like I said, Israel has taken Cairo, so that's a victory point for the NATO faction. The influence is going badly for Viper in Libya. I got her 5-2. I just need one more point and I'll take the influence on Libya. And Portugal. Zimbabwe she's got a slight lead on me there, 4-3. Vietnam, both sides are continuing to take heavy casualties. We're breaking about even in casualties. South Vietnam's taking a little bit more. Hopefully I can hold out long enough till I can bring America into it. Viper, she finished a while ago. She finished the major factory in China, and so far she's just been concentrating on building up her heavy tank arm of her military. Japan's completed its heavy water facility, start work on a nuclear reactor. Anzac has completed all 3 facilities, so we can start making nukes soon. And that is about it in terms of everything. So the new comers to the nuclear club is Australia and England. So the event that will be happening this turn is the Second Berlin Crisis. Depending on how this goes down, it could lead to the creation of the Berlin Wall. So it's once again it's an event that Viper has to initiate, and if she so chooses to, she has to move 2 infantry into Berlin and demand that I withdraw my 1 infantry from Berlin. If I cave and I agree to those terms, then I have to pull that infantry out and Viper gets all of Berlin and all of its production. If I want to contest it, give my wife the finger, then I have to move that infantry and that tank into Berlin to tell her to piss off. And then we'll go from there, because it's a multi-stage process, so the next video will go over the second stage of that. So that's the event that will be going down this turn, and it's an event, not a proxy war, so there's no victory point on the line, but there is production bonuses on the line. And the other event is I can start my space program. I can start building the Kennedy launch facility in Florida and start working my way to the moon, and hopefully before Viper does, because there's quite a bit of money on the line. So with that, I think that's everything. So with that, we'll cut the video. I'll go hide again, and we'll come back, assuming I'm still alive. We will come back with the next turn. See you then. Hello, Axis and Allies friends. Welcome back. Yes, we got the update for the Cold War, and we're at the spring of 1959. And Viper did start the Second Berlin Crisis. She moved 2 infantry into Berlin and ordered me to get the hell out. I, in response, moved an infantry and a tank into Berlin, told her no. So now her course of action, if she wants to continue this, is she has to move a tank herself into Berlin. And that will start the negotiations, as neither side is willing to back down. We'll start the negotiations, and how that's done is each one of us will just roll a d6. The first one to 24 points will win the negotiation, and if Viper wins the negotiation, she'll get all of Berlin plus all of its production. If I win the negotiations, everything just goes back to normal. And if neither of us get to 24 points by a certain date, the negotiations have failed and Viper will build the Berlin Wall. And the consequence of that is Viper's production goes up by 1, while Russia's production goes up by 1, and then my German production goes down by 1. So, pretty sure she's going to be moving a tank into Berlin, so that's what will be going down in the near future. Is the Second Berlin Crisis is in full swing. I started the Kennedy launch facility. And it takes 4 turns to build it, so I just started construction of it. I won the influence rolls in Libya. Viper wasn't too happy about that, but in terms of African influence nations, it stands 2-1 in my favor. I got Libya and South Africa. She's got Nubia, and we're tied at 4 apiece in Zimbabwe. So we'll see where Viper decides to go next, since how she failed in Libya. And that's really it. Most of the NATO nations, I've just started nuclear programs, so they're not really building much in terms of units, just building facilities. Australia's finished their facilities, so they got their first nuke. England's finished theirs, so they got 2 nukes right now, I believe. Germany's finished their heavy water nuclear facility. Unfortunately, the uranium deposit is in the Berlin territory right now, so it's actually off limits to Germany, unfortunately, for the moment. France hasn't started it. I haven't started any nuclear program with France because they're too busy fighting in Algeria right now. Every dime France has is going towards keeping afloat in Algeria. And then Italy and Japan have both completed their heavy waters, and they're working on their nuclear reactors right now. Viper is continuing her space program with research roles. I myself can't start doing that until I complete the launch facility, so it's a very big priority that I get that done as soon as possible. Granted, I don't have to get as many points to succeed as Viper does to kind of balance it out, to balance the late start. Other than that, that's about it. Vietnam, continuing to go back and forth. I'm continuing to position American units in Guam or off the coast of Vietnam in preparation for when I can intervene with America. Viper with China is just continuing to build her heavy tank force. And that's really about it. Israel, or the Arab states, trying to rebuild their losses from the Second Arab-Israeli War. The Arab states, Viper, she lost well over half of her total military strength with the Arab states in that war. But that's about it. So the event for this turn is Cuba has become the focal point for the new Cold War tensions, alongside the Second Berlin Crisis. But Castro is now cozied up to the Soviet Union, so the Soviet Union can now start building up forces in Cuba. Likewise, America can start supplying anti-Castro forces in Latin America. And so how that goes down is the buildup of Cuban forces, that's just done with Warsaw Pact funds. The anti-Castro forces that America can build up in Latin America is done via dice roll. 1 to a 3, America gets to put a infantry in Latin America. 4 to a 6 does nothing. It's the start of the build-up to the Bay of Pigs invasion, which is a couple turns down the road. So Cuba, alongside with the Second Berlin Crisis, Cuba will increasingly become the focal point of the Cold War, ultimately leading to the Cuban Missile Crisis. But other than that, that's about it. So we will come back with the actual Bay of Pigs invasion several turns down the road, because nothing happens in between. So we'll come back with the actual Bay of Pigs invasion. So we'll see you then.